Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Red Devils. And some very horrible news this morning with confirmation from the man himself, Luke Shaw, that he has suffered yet another injury setback just 24 hours. Well, now it's less than 24 hours before we kick off against Arsenal this evening. And I personally think he was actually set to potentially start and was going to be a very important player tonight with the injury to Sandro Martinez. And after having missed jeepers, months and months and months last season. Luke Shaw has finally made his return, and we were hoping to try and get a bit of a run of him. And once again, he is injured. Now, it's a very interesting way that people are reacting to this, and I think some people are reacting in such a bad way. And you really got to feel for the player who, at the end of the day, is never going to be able to give you 20 to 30 games in the season. Now, whether that means you then, for example, move him on probably, but you've also got to think about the player element over here. And Luke Shaw is a footballer who could have gone on to be one of the all-time greats. He was nominated in the sort of Golden Boy category. He's one of the most talented players in his age group at the time when he broke through at Southampton. And due to an absolute freak injury, he has basically just not been able to ever be back to full fitness and be able to give you a long run, for example. Now, at the end of the day, it's very frustrating from my perspective, and the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction is kind of the rolling the eyes and, we got to get rid of him and stuff like that. But once again, you've got to think about the player aspect of it. And the big thing I think when it comes to this is I watched the podcast with Phil Jones and Rio Ferdinand, and he just opened up about how horrible it was being in a situation where he just couldn't get fit, where he was consistently always injured, and he could not play the game he loved. He could never achieve the things he wanted to achieve due to injury. And Luke Shaw is in a very similar position. And when he confirmed the news, this is the post that he put up on his Instagram, and he said the following. He says, "Hi guys, it's hurting a lot having to write this, as I really thought I'd got through my recent struggles and was on a positive path going forward. But unfortunately, I've had a small setback. I've been through a lot of and I had a lot of ups and downs, but this has definitely been my toughest period. I'm absolutely devastated, and it's extremely tough to come to terms with reality at this moment in time." He says, "I understand this is going to be people are frustrated, angry, disappointed, and I understand all that. There is no one feeling that more than me at this moment. But what I can promise is I will do everything I can to be back better soon to help this club achieve its ambition this season. Thank you to everyone for the support. It really doesn't go unnoticed, and I really do appreciate it." Now, unfortunately, if we then go look at his current injury record, it looks a little bit something like this. And last season, he missed. I mean, this season he's already missed between the 1st of August and the 20th of October, and then the end of August between November. It's the same thing. I'm confused. Oh, so for the different injuries, he's missed basically about 20 games, and that is for example, Bruno Fernandes probably played 20 games in that sort of time. Last season, for example, he missed so many games, and you look at, for example, the injuries, and it's all repeat injuries, really. It all stems back from that leg break. If we go back and look at his injury history, this one over here, back in 2015-16, where he was out for 288 days. And he's basically not been able to go on any sort of run since then. It's had issues there, and it's continued issues, for example. And the reality is that he's just never going to be able to give you 20 to 30 games. But the problem is that if you go and look at his current situation, he's got a contract until 2027. Now, he's unsellable. He is completely unsellable, is the reality. No team is going to pick up Luke Shaw with his injury record. And to terminate his contract would be an absolutely sucker punch for a player who is, he's described his body as basically broken, and he said he's constantly in pain. For example, he's works his way back up to fitness and has to start again. Works back up to fitness and has to start again. I mean, you have to just think mentally what that takes on a player, the toll it takes on a player. So I personally don't think that cancelling his contract is even an option. You probably need to potentially maybe look at renegotiating it in terms of the amount of wages that he's on and bring that down to something a little bit more in line with what is affordable for somebody of his availability. But and then what you do is the club needs to support him and the players need to get behind him, because it's a horrendous situation. And I mean, for all we know, for example, he might even be forced into retirement, and he's 29 years old. And we've seen players like Daniel Sturridge, for example, players who came through, have been at the top level, Jack Wilshere, and had to give up their career earlier than they should have. And you don't want that to see that from Luke Shaw, who, when he's playing well, is one of the best left backs in the world. So it's a very awkward situation because, at the moment he's eating up a lot of wages. You don't want to be that club that then goes and, cancels his contract, leaves him out. What we've got to try and do is find a way of reducing his wages and then facilitating a move to a new club where he can be successful. This is really where the club needs to really come behind him and help sort him out. Similarly with Turo Malacia, for example, who missed the entire last season, essentially. So it's very frustrating. The main thing is we don't have him for tonight, and hopefully a small setback means we'll have him back in the next few weeks because we've got to try and find games for him to play, and he needs to start. He needs to start playing. From his perspective, from our perspective, because the longer he doesn't play and the more games he misses, the worse it gets for him to try and sort of deal with the situation he's currently in. But that's the update. Unfortunately, a very bad update. As a result, Harry Maguire, I think, probably expected to start tonight, which is going to make life very interesting for the United back three. First time he'll start under Ruben Amorim, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens tonight. Might mean a potential Lenny Euro debut coming in tonight. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.